You know, if you'd asked me a year ago to try drinking raw milk or to eat raw eggs, I would have given you a very nasty look. For starters, I'm a complete germaphobe. I'm totally neurotic about catching any kind of bug, so needless to say, I'm a persistent hand washer. And I have to admit that when I took my first sip of raw milk, I held my nose, and I was actually shocked that I didn't die instantly. But it tasted good. The milk tasted very good. And actually, referring back to the taste test department, my husband used to hate the taste of pasteurised milk. Now, to me, they didn't taste too much different. I couldn't really tell the difference between the two, but apparently he could, because now he will drink absolutely gallons of the stuff. He loves raw milk. We go through tons of the stuff. So there's a good plug for it. But before I would even take my first sip, I did an awful lot of research on it to make sure that, I wasn't going to kill myself with just one sip. And I could clearly see the health benefits that came from it, despite the fact that I couldn't quite get my head around the non-pasteurised aspect of it. Raw milk is unprocessed. It's in the original state that God gave it to us in. If you can find a good, clean source of raw milk, then it won't have any hormones, any steroids. And if the cows are fed grass, then the cows, of course, are going to be much healthier because they're eating the food that they were designed to eat rather than grain, which they weren't designed to eat. And as a result, healthy cows will create, logically, healthy milk. In fact, pasteurisation is really a process that came about because of very unsanitary conditions in dairies. It was a process that sprung up in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and it was because dairies were so unsanitary. But of course nowadays we have stainless steel. Virtually everything in dairies is made of stainless steel, which is much easier to clean. And state laws require that dairies, especially raw milk producing dairies, meet very, very high sanitation standards. So really, pasteurisation is a defunct process nowadays, and it actually causes a lot more harm than it does good, because it kills so many of the good bacteria in the milk that are half the reason why the milk is healthy in the first place. And in the process of pasteurisation, it denatures the milk proteins. It changes them into a form that the human body was just never designed to be able to digest. And as a result, there's countless people that have intolerances and allergies to pasteurised milk. In fact, many of those same people don't have any allergies or any problems at all with raw milk. Their bodies were, of course, designed to handle it. But if you are thinking about having raw milk instead of pasteurised, it's very important that you take the time to find a clean source of milk. Currently, California is the only state where you can legally buy raw milk from a retail store. Everywhere else, most other states, I should say, you would have to go directly to the dairy to buy your milk. And in the dairy, you can ask to see the bacteria counts for that week. Most states require that dairies run weekly tests on both the milk and on the manure to show the customers what the bacteria counts are in both. So you can very easily see if there's been an outbreak of Salmonella or E. coli. And most dairy farmers are more than happy to show you that. They have nothing to hide because their cows are so much healthier than regular cows that are kept in these tiny little pens and stuffed with grains and steroids and all kinds of nasty things. They're more than happy to show you those bacteria counts. Another thing that you can do in checking out a dairy is to ask to have a tour of the facilities. And again, most dairy farmers are more than happy to do that. In fact, most of them are very proud of their facilities. It takes a very passionate farmer to take the time and effort to produce raw milk. It's very time and labour intensive. So you can ask to see the facilities and see how clean they are, and that will give you confidence as well in their milk. Now, I have to say, drinking raw milk seems to be a lot easier to deal with than eating raw eggs. And women in particular seem to have a big problem with eating raw eggs. I think it must be something to do with the texture, but okay, yes, even thinking about the texture makes me, lovely. Anyway, The health benefits of eating raw eggs are numerous. I won't go into them all here, but you can look them up on the site on mercola.com. Just put in raw eggs into the search box and you will see very quickly what the health benefits are of eating raw eggs. In fact, the chances of catching salmonella or a foodborne illness from raw eggs are actually less than 1 in 30,000. That's much less than what most people believe it to be. And those odds actually even go down if you make sure that you're eating raw eggs from a healthy source. So not just regular eggs from hens that are kept in tiny little pens and fed all kinds of nasty, unhealthy foods, but from hens that are free range and are only fed organic feed, so organic free range eggs. If you eat those, you are very unlikely to have a problem. Dr. Mercola has actually told me that he eats 2 raw eggs every morning, and he has them Rocky style, so he just breaks them and okay, I haven't quite got to that point yet. For me, I still have to blend my raw eggs. I blend them in with some raw milk and a little dash of cream, and it tastes fantastic. Actually, if you want to add some cinnamon and nutmeg, you can make a really tasty eggnog, really, really tasty. And you'd be surprised, you can't really taste the eggs at all. If I had to describe the flavour, I'd say they taste very slightly of vanilla, but really you can't taste them. And you certainly can't feel the texture, especially when they're blended. So that's definitely a way to consider having your raw eggs and your raw milk at the same time. A couple of sources that you can look at to find good, clean, raw milk in your area. You can go to realmilk.com or you can go to the Weston A. Price Foundation's website. Both of those are excellent resources for finding raw milk in your area. So both of those are definitely a good one to check out. And as with so many of the things that you'll discover from this site and from other avenues that will show you ways to eat more healthily, it's very important to keep an open mind. Do the research, make sure that you're happy with any choices that you've decided to go with, but be willing to try new things. And trust me, with the raw milk and the raw eggs, your body will thank you.